With Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker coming out this December, I'm continuing my Star Wars reviews with Star Wars Attack of the Clones. Oh boy. Before I go on, don't forget to smash that like button, smash that share button, and if you're new here, smash that subscribe button so you can watch more reviews like this one, and give a little tap to the gray bell icon for notifications on my latest uploads. Back to the review. Star Wars Attack of the Clones is the second installment of George Lucas's Star Wars prequels franchise, and basically this is a more grown-up-ish Anakin Skywalker. He's like 19 or something, and there's been an assassination attempt on Padme, and so while Obi-Wan goes to try to investigate the whole ordeal, Anakin is sent to protect her. Meanwhile, a blossoming romance ensues. And that's the biggest problem with the movie right here. Well, first, let's get into some cool moments. Like, what moments do I think were good? Ewan McGregor is pretty good as Obi-Wan. The lightsaber fights are cool. Especially the one with Yoda. I'm not gonna lie, the Yoda lightsaber fight's actually pretty cool. I mean, you could argue that, you know, this kind of goes against what Yoda said in the later movies where he says, there's cool right here, no, like, you know, the Force is stronger than the lightsaber. But at the same time, you could argue that this is a younger Yoda, and there's not much else to be excited about in this movie, so you might as well just have this like little green guy jumping around and swinging lightsabers with Christopher Lee. So, I mean, yeah. And there are some glimmers of things in this movie that could be interesting, but for some reason they're put in the worst place possible. For example, there's a scene between Anakin and Padme, and they're talking about political issues and how much control should one have over an entire government. And again, it could be really cool, like you start to see a little bit of Darth Vader in Anakin, but for some reason they put it in the setting of a romantic picnic or whatever, and it's like, what? Like there's waterfalls, it's all bright and sunny, it's supposed to set up a romantic atmosphere, and they decide to put the glimmer of Darth Vader in this scene? Like, really? This could be really cool, but the setting is so stupid and doesn't match the tone of their discussion. And speaking of which, the romance in general is just garbage. Like, I'm sorry, women are smarter than Padme. Like, if a woman were to see a guy going like this towards her, and talking about how he sees her in her dreams, I'm sorry, but this guy would be pepper sprayed, and the woman would call him out 10 years later on Twitter because of that experience. That's not how women work. Women are smarter than just falling in love with some creep. No, that's... ew, and he really is creepy. Like, look at that face. Oh, God. And again, a lot of the dialogue's really stupid, too. Like this one scene around the end where Padme goes, I truly, deeply love you. It's like, oh God, nobody talks like that. This is Star Wars. The Jedi in general in this movie are also very confusing. Like, they don't have nightmares. They are supposed to be emotionless. Like, that's the Jedi? Like, really? Say what you will about Rey, but at least she has a personality. I don't know what personality Anakin is supposed to have until maybe a little bit later on when something tragic happens with something that's close to him. But other than that one scene, I don't know what personality he's supposed to have. He just sort of stands here and just talks. And like, who are you? What are you supposed to be? Like, what's your personality? Again, Rey has a pretty clear personality. Anakin Skywalker really doesn't. At least not until very later on in the film. Hell, I'm not even so sure how this is even connected to Star Wars. Because, look at this shit. It's all futuristic and it's all glossy and clean. It looks more like a city you'd see in the movie Metropolis or something. Again, say what we will about the new Star Wars movies, but at least they have a Star Wars aesthetic. They have an aesthetic that is futuristic, but ancient as well. Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones are just so glossy and futuristic that it honestly feels like they went forward in time instead of going back. Because this is supposed to happen before the events of A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. I don't see it. Like, look at this diner. How is this connected to Star Wars? Aesthetically, it doesn't match. And one of the biggest pieces of wasted potential in this movie was Christopher Lee as Count Dooku. I don't really know his character all that well. They could have made him terrifying. Hell, you got Christopher Lee! Like, that man should be able to stand on his own when it comes to being the villain. But no, like, it's just... Again, I don't blame Christopher Lee for this. I blame George Lucas. Hell, let's also talk about another piece of casting that was completely wasted, and that everyone blames the actor, but honestly, I don't think we should. And that's Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker. I don't think he's a bad choice to play Anakin. In all honesty, I think he actually could be a really great Darth Vader. Hell, he's given some great performances before. But everyone seems to blame him when it comes to all of the really shitty dialogue and his shitty performance, and yeah, his performance is very bland. It's like,
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
yeah, that's not good, but at the same time, do you know any actor who could make that sand line sound good? I know I sure can't. People really tend to forget that a lot of an actor's performance really relies on the dialogue and the direction. If you gave Leonardo DiCaprio the role, I don't even think he could make that sound good. And he's one of the best actors working today. All this really comes down to is George Lucas having control of everything. Because say what you will about the new Star Wars movies, but at least with every film, there's a different director, a different writer. If you don't like one film, the next one's going to be done by someone else. This gives us the chance to see new visions of the Star Wars universe by different people. But George Lucas having control of it all when he did the prequels, it kind of shows. It kind of shows what happens when one person has complete control over everything and doesn't even take advice from anyone else as to what would or wouldn't work. So yeah, I know a lot of Gen Zers love Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, but I'm sorry, just as I did with Phantom Menace, I also don't recommend Star Wars Attack of the Clones. But again, if you're a Star Wars fan, you've probably already seen it already. The dialogue is awful, the direction is so bland, aesthetically this doesn't look like the Star Wars universe, it has a ton of wasted potential, including the characterization of Anakin Skywalker and Count Dooku, and overall this is just a very poor film in the Star Wars canon. So, what do you think of Attack of the Clones? Let me know in the comments below what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a like, share the video so we can get the channel circulated. Don't forget to support my Patreon on my Patreon page, or if you can't do that, then consider supporting me through my PayPal donation button in the description below. And if you want to see more, click this. But stay away from sand.